So, alright, cool. So right now, this is a setup I'm looking at, right? AUD USD for potential buy. Let me send out the link. All right. AUD USD. We basically have a nice demand zone right here, right? We have a nice trend that took out supply. So there's a good chance that we can get a reaction off this demand zone, right? It's worth the risk for me. So I've already placed a buy limit here, but once the market gets down there, then I might add positions with lower time frame confirmation. While we wait on this AUD USD buy, I'm gonna have a look at Euro and US 30. Okay, let's see. Euro USD. Check out this demand. For Euro USD, I would probably wait on something like this, right? So I'll set an alert right here. Right, so that's your USD. Waiting on either one of these scenarios to play out. Um, US 30. We have a reaction of the 4 hour zone, right? And then lower time frame confirmation, right? But obviously, when it comes to executing trades, you want to execute trades when the trade is obvious and it's pretty clear, right? The price action on US 30 is it's not very convincing, for me to take a risk on it, right? If I had to enter, it would have been here or here, but presently there's no quality zones, right? Usually I would look for a 1 hour zone. This was the last 1 hour zone, so unless this high is broken, that's the only way I could consider this zone, right? So to me, this zone right here is only valid if this high was broken, but it's not. So we have to wait for more information. The only thing that's present on the table right now for us to consider executing on is AUD USD. We have a nice demand zone, tight base. We have a nice explosive move away from the zone. So all those are like confluences, right? Reasons to add to the probability of the trade working out. So if we get confirmation, that would be even better. But I have enough information here to enter, to take the risk without confirmation. So this is the zone right here. I'm gonna enter a little early, right? Once the market gets down to this area with our stop loss, below the zone, right? So that's about 20, 23 pips risk for a potential 120 pips, right? If we get confirmation, then we could execute another trade with, a much lower risk, right? For a much higher reward. This would be an aggressive entry, right? That could work. Much smaller stop, but this would be like a perfect scenario, right? We're gonna take the more conservative approach by entering a little earlier and having a wider stop loss, just in case the market, dips below the zone a little bit, right? So hopefully within this session we could get that entry. I have an alert set. Um, so in the meantime, if you want to recommend a currency pair, you could recommend it in the chat and I'll go over it, right? See if there's any potential setups. But this setup looks promising. See here, US 30 or AED. I think we already went over US 30, right? Let's go over US 30 one more time. Start from the daily. Alright, so US 30 been in a higher time frame downtrend, right? Then we had demand take over for a second. Typically I would have been looking for sells right here, which I was, but the market didn't give any confirmation, right? And usually the market only reverses 20% of the time, 80% of the time it continues, right? So currently US 30 is in an uptrend until these at least this forward demand is removed, right? So once this forward demand is removed, then we could confidently take sells on US 30, right? Otherwise, it could very well keep pushing up. So based on just the time frame we're on and the data we have, we know that the daily is trending up. We know that the 4 hour is trending up. So what I would do is execute buys, right? Now the high quality buying opportunities already passed. This would have been the next high quality buying opportunity, but um, this zone hasn't accomplished what I would like it to accomplish, right? Because whenever I want to execute on a demand zone, I need to see that zone at least take out the high, just to confirm the strength of the move. It could still work out, but I prefer to stick to the zones that accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. That way, I'm way more confident in the execution, right? So in this scenario, we have a potential trade, but it's not high quality, so I'm not gonna execute on it or call it out, right? It's not worth the risk, but it could still work out. And then this is also an area to potentially look for sells, right? With confirmation, of course. So for me, what I would do, I would wait for this high to be taken out, and then once this high is taken out, I'm gonna look to enter on the demand zone responsible for taking out this high, right? So once this high is taken out, I'll look for the demand responsible for taking out this high. And then we have euro AED. Let's take it from the daily. Euro AED been bullish on the daily. Like this zone right here. So this would have been the trade on Euro AED, right? Because this was demand right here, um, and the market already tapped into it was this? Wednesday. This was last. Oh, well, today is Wednesday, so this was yesterday, right? Preferably, I like to enter on 4 hour zones and 1 hour zones. All right, those ones usually have the best success rate, right? Um, this would have been the 1 hour zone to consider entering on Euro AUD. Right now, if we had to look for a trade on Euro AUD, we would be chasing the market, right? And you don't want to chase the market. You want to stop the market. You want the market to come to you and enter at your preferred prices, right? So what I like to do, I like to when I hop on the chart, I would map out the best 1 hour zone on supply and demand and wait for the market to get there. So right now, for me, there's no trade, right? Yes, I could jump down to the lower time frame, but the lower time frame is just gonna bring down the quality of the trade, right? I would only jump on the lower time frame if the market is already in a higher time frame zone. So that's your AED, right? Right. So right now on the plate, we only have um, AUD USD, right? Which is coming into our entry right now. So let's see if I got activated. Okay, my trade hasn't activated yet, but it's about to. I mean, it's right at entry. So if you want to just enter, you could enter, right? It just has to drop like 2 more pips to activate my entry. So let's see here. Enter at your own risk, right? Obviously, manage your risk. I'm personally risking 1% on this trade. And let's see if we can get a reaction, all right? I'm activated. I'm in. So this trade was executed on a 1 hour time frame. So, if it goes into profit, expect to hold it for a couple hours, right? Let's see. It took 2 days to fall. It could take a day or two to hit TP. So, I mean, if it runs, right? It looks like a high quality trade. Isn't there a better entry? I mean, this is my analysis. So this is how I view the market, right? If you can find a better entry, um, then you can execute on that, right? It's not the trade, doesn't have to work out because we have an edge, but it meets all of my requirements, right? So if it hits stop loss, then it would be a probability loss, right? If it hits if it runs, then it's just part of the edge. Drop a one in the chat if you got into the trade. And if there's any other pairs you want me to have a look at, um, let's do it. You can send them through. Leo, Leo, Leo. Guys, so one thing you want to consider, right? The best way to because obviously we all have the goal to get funded and have financial freedom, right? And funding challenges is the best way to do it, right? So I would suggest the best way to actually see success in getting funded is obviously education, right? And for me, the education was the easy part. The psychology was the hard part, right? So even though you might be the best technical analyst and you might find the best trades, you could still fail, because even with the best trades, you risk too much, you overtrade, it's not gonna work out, right? So what was the solution to that problem? The higher time frame. Because if you're only executing on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, then you would only be executing maybe once, 2 times a day, right? So, you have your predefined risks to execute 2 trades a day, which eliminates over trading, right? And if you're trading on a higher time frame, then most likely you're going to be taking higher quality trades, right? So that's one key that helped me and my students out a lot. So that's something you should definitely consider, right? Let's see how the trade plays out. Around 9:30, we're gonna get some volume on US 30, so we could definitely take advantage of that, right? Hopefully that volume, helps us with our decisions, right? Because like I said, you wanna execute when the market has high is in a high probability area of good market conditions, right? And right now, for me on US 30, the market conditions is indecisive. So I would prefer to wait for when it's much clearer to make that decision. Yesterday was pretty slow. I mean, since Tuesday, last 2 days was pretty slow on US 30. The best way to reach me is on Instagram. I don't have any paid groups. I only have free signal channels. So all the signals I send and the live sessions I do it, at no cost. So my Instagram is in the description. NFP on Friday. Well, that would be good. The best time to trade the market is when there's volume in the market. Um, like yesterday, we only had yellow folders, so it was really slow. Tuesday, mostly yellow folders, really slow, right? Euro USD looks, promising for sells. Once we have a dip below here, we have a nice zone right here on the 1 hour. We can execute on. USD, in this area. Okay, let's see. I don't know what went off on GBP USD. Yeah, your AUD USD is where I would like to see confirmation on the lower time frame, right? GBP USD, we're in this, coming into this 4 hour zone, which has some potential. And we have this 1 hour zone, right? You always want to check the quality of the zone. You only want to execute on quality zones. On the 1 hour, we have this nice zone right here, right? If the market gets down here, I would execute. I would just buy, place my stops below, because I've tested these zones, I've seen them a ton of times, and we have this clear base with this explosive move up that removed previous zones. It's usually high quality, right? In addition to that, we also have the market, the retracement is trending, right? So basically, the time it took to get to this high was just 4 hours, and the time it took to come back was like 2 days, right? So personally, I'll probably just set a buy limit right here, just in case it activates when I'm not watching, right? All right, so I've actually placed a buy limit right here. All right, feel free to, if you want to follow along, you can go ahead. It doesn't matter, but that's what I did. All right, so that's GBP USD, the 1 hour zone. Let's go back to AUD, see what's up. Okay, so AUD USD, right? We're in that 1 hour demand zone we was looking at, right? we get confirmation, we could probably get, a tighter stop. Lower risk, um, on maybe like a 1 minute entry or a 5 minute entry, right? But this would be the 1 hour demand. So usually once we tap into that demand, that's when we could get confirmation. Right. So what we're waiting on is a shift in order flow on the lower time frame. I mean, we already have a 1 hour entry, right? But it would be nice to get a lower time frame entry so that we have a much bigger risk to reward. Now GBP USD is also about to activate. So all right, so let me set an alert on this AUD USD. And let's have a look at GBP USD. Yeah, so GBP USD, that's what we're looking for. All right, well, hopefully it comes down and enter, right? This is practically almost there. The stock market open should give us some volume. Use 30. The times I usually, my favorite times to trade is at 11 a.m. and 11 and 2, right? Because usually at 11, we get a reversal and the market starts trending, and then at 2 we usually get a reversal again and then the market starts trending, right? So from my experience, from trading and backtesting, those are like my favorite times to execute. Because usually when I execute now, the market won't really move, right? It might consolidate, it might play around just a little bit, but usually when 11 o'clock rolls around, for some reason, that's when the trade decides to take off, right? And then 2 o'clock. So, and in addition to that, usually I feel like whenever I get an entry at 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock at the beginning of the week, the market doesn't retrace back to that entry. So it would just continue trending in those directions for the rest of the day. So yeah, even though the live session is from 8:30 to like 10, my preferred session is 11 and 2 p.m. 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern time. US 30, right? So for US 30, this is the last impulse up. So this is the structure right here. So in order for us to execute a very nice trade, actually, this could be a trade right here, but it wouldn't be high quality, right? But basically, we have this high, we have this low. If the market breaks below this low, this would be a change of character, right? So then we could look to sell. And once the market breaks this high, then that would be a breaker structure. So then we could look for buys under retracement, right? But as for anything that happens in the middle, anything could happen in the middle. Let's see, 1 minute. If I had to consider executing a scalp, right, on this, I wouldn't risk 1%. I would risk like a quarter of a percent to let the risk to reward compensate. So let's say, we had to consider an entry in this within this impulse leg. Basically, this was the 1 hour zone we would have wanted to enter from, right? But the market, came back, tapped in. We weren't present, right? I went ahead. So this would be the confirmation. This area would be the confirmation for this zone. So if I had to enter within this area, right, I wouldn't risk 1% like I normally would. I would risk half or a quarter percent at this confirmation zone right here. So that's something to consider. Right, so I actually placed a buy limit right here. Gonna take the risk on it. This zone is refined on the 1 minute. So these refinements here is 1 minute, right? I did place a buy limit on it, but it's with lowered risk. So once it comes into this area, if I get lower time frame confirmation, I'll probably add more to it. But that's how I have it for now, right? And the reason why um, I'm considering this is simply because we reacted off the 1 hour right here, and then this would be a change of character. So this would be confirmation. So it could work, right? But I usually would just take the 1 hour zone, not the after the fact. Usually, if I'm on the 1 hour time frame or the 4 hour time frame, I would just place the buy limit with no confirmation, right? If the zone is high quality, if we have a nice base, we have a nice move up, and then once it gets into the zone, and if I go to the lower time frame, right, and confirmation presents itself, I would then add additional risk to the trade, right? So I would take another entry. So I would take an entry without confirmation, and then I would take an even bigger entry once I get confirmation, right? But I usually, if the zone is on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, I'm usually confident enough to take it without confirmation, right? Yeah. Um, nice. Well, the biggest breakthrough that I've had in the last few weeks is just trading on the 1 hour time frame, the 1 hour and the 4 hour. So that's something you might want to consider as well, right? So you see how we already entered in this area, right? So in this zone right here, it looks like we're having a shift on the 1 minute. And then once the 1 minute starts trending upwards, if I'm on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame, the risk to reward I would look for is like 1 to 3, 4, 5, right? However, I would risk a lot more because I'm taking less trades, but I'm taking higher quality trades. So if the trade meets the criteria, I would risk 1%, right? Which means, if the trade is successful, then that would be 4% gain. And with that, you only need two good trades to make 8%, right? Or two good trades to make 10%. So it's all about being, very selective, making sure you choose the right zones. So we have this impulse up. We want to see this zone right here get broken, right? So not this zone, but this high point. So if the market breaks this high point, then that will give us, more confidence in the trade, right? More confidence that the trade is going to continue up. Should look something like this. And in a scenario like that, um, I could consider adding additional positions. No, no, I don't care how long it takes to hit the take profit, right? Usually, um, because if you're in one good trade and the take profit is 4 R away, that's 4%, right? Then you don't really have to worry about executing any more trades. You don't have to worry about taking in low quality trades. So the best thing, right? What I enjoy the most is finding a good trade and then just managing that one trade, right? So if we're in a good sell on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and it's just about managing the trade, like trailing the stop loss, making sure the trade doesn't take back too much profits, then that's much better than looking for new trades, right? And the longer the better, to be honest. If I could hold a trade for a week or 2 weeks, that's continuously making money, then that's something I would be proud of, right? Let me tell you what's the best zone, right? It's good to have two zones, but if you have a 4 hour zone, right? And inside of that 4 hour zone, you have a 1 hour zone, right? Then that is like the stars aligning, right? That would be like my favorite setup, right? And even better if you have a daily zone, right? So if you have a daily zone, a 4 hour zone, and a 1 hour zone, all within the same area, then that would be like very, very high quality. That's the type of trade I would risk 2% on, maybe even three, right? Because once you have all those zones lined up, it's very high quality. $9.30 New York Stock Exchange. Normally, I would avoid trading at 9:30, right? So remember, I said if you were to execute on US 30, the risk has to be, a quarter of a percent, right? The only time I would risk 1% is if the zone is 1 hour or above. From body to wick, unless it's a doji candle, right? If it's a doji candle, then it will be from wick to wick. But if it's a regular candle, then it's body um, to wick, right? So for example, this candle right here is a doji candle. I would take it from wick to wick, right? Yeah, so we have a reaction from the entry zone. But now it's 9:30, so if it comes up at least, a little bit, I would probably go break even, right? Because 9:30 is super unpredictable. Well, not too unpredictable, but 9:30 is usually the market heads for your stops. Also, the live stream is delayed, right? It's delayed by a few seconds. So whatever is going on in the live market, you're gonna see it on this live stream a few seconds late. That's something you want to consider. So you might, want to anticipate certain things, right? So for this US 30, I want to go break even like as soon as possible. So I'm gonna lower my risk, right? Gonna take my risk from this to this, basically below the low of this candle. Just because it's not my typical trading setup. All right, so I'm taking out small loss, but very small loss. But if he was able to at least take some partials or something, then congrats, right? Still, that's what I would like to see, or the opposite. Let's see, GBP USD hasn't activated yet. If the stream ends, right, you can still hang on to these trades. Um, AUD. AUD is still figuring things out, right? All right, so here's what we're gonna do, right? Since these are swing trades, I do have a course. It's free. All you have to do is it's on my YouTube channel. So I just explain, exactly how I trade and the rules that I follow, right? So you just have to look at my YouTube channel and you'll get everything. But if you can't find it, you can just DM me on Instagram. I'll send it to you. John. Alright, so we're gonna hold these trades, right? AUD and GBP USD. And hopefully they work out. I'm gonna hop off the stream, but I'll update, you guys in the chat, right? If we had any, like, if USD was in a higher quality area to execute, then we would have stayed on and scalped. But it doesn't make sense trying to look for a trade, when the conditions is not in your favor, right? But when it is in your favor, then you really try to hit it hard. Alright, so have a safe trading day, guys. Don't give back your profits to the market, and manage your risk.